Good morning guys, good morning everyone. This is your first lesson in the third bi-monthly. As a general topic, we have this topic of superheroes and superpowers as well. I know you are a fan of superheroes, right? You can find superheroes in movies, in TV programs. I don't know how many of you love watching, for example, Netflix. You can find some superheroes on Netflix as well. But today, with regard to superheroes, we're going to talk about superpowers. And I don't know how many of you have dreamed of having some of these superpowers. One of my wishes when I was a child was having the powers of flying. I don't know how many of you want to fly, or maybe wish you can fly. Yes, or maybe you wanted to have this mind-reading power in which you can read what other people think. So you can find some other powers on the page number 80. So please, if you can help me by opening up your books, please. We have this version, right? We are using the Gold Experience second version, and on the page number 80, let me read to you some of these superpowers. For example, we have invisibility, superhuman strength, superhuman intelligence, mind reading, superhuman speed, flight, and superhuman senses. So we are going to have in this lesson some text in which we are going to review some of this vocabulary. But the main topic in this general topic as well is gerunds versus infinitives. So please, let's go with me on the page number 82, and on the page number 82 you will find this topic, gerunds and infinitives, or infinitives and gerunds. In my personal opinion, I think infinitives and gerunds are similar to heroes and villains, superheroes and their enemies, because they cannot go together. Okay, remember, if you haven't understood me, gerunds are like heroes and infinitives are like villains, like in the movies. They cannot go together, okay? So they are very different. First, let's start talking about the infinitives, okay? So if you are checking out with me your books on the page 82, you will find there a chart in which you have some explanation. Okay, let's start with the first one, okay? Infinitives. The first point you have to keep in mind is that you use infinitives with certain verbs. That means that when you use infinitives, you probably use them with some kind of verbs. So in this case, you have to memorize them. There is no other way. Teacher, but how can I memorize these wide range of verbs? Yeah, you can use them in sentences, right? You can use them in your daily expressions. So some of them are want, seem, agree, intend, decide, mean, expect, plan, hope, manage, promise. And with the grammatical structure of would, you could say would like, would love, would prefer. Another way to use infinitives are when you use them with verbs plus objects. For example, you could say like the example you have here, scientists expected to be more accurate. So there are some words that are used for referring to an object. Those are, for example, want, expect, and encourage. Another way to use infinitives is when you use them with these WH words. For example, where, what, how, which. For example, you say, no one can work out how to produce a battery. So you cannot say, no one can work out how producing a battery. You can use infinitives without to. For example, if you check out this grammar chart, you will find, for example, it says infinitive without to. You can use infinitives after certain verbs plus objects. For example, when you use the verb make and the verb help. You have an example here. This makes to disappear. You cannot say that. You could say this makes it disappear from view. Okay, now let's talk about the ing form, okay? Remember, the ing form would make a word either a verb or a noun. So gerunds could be a verb or a noun. Like for example, if you could say smoke, it's a verb, right? If you say smoking, it's also a verb, but it could be an activity. So when you use ing form, you could use them with certain verbs as well as the infinitive form. Some of these verbs are enjoy, imagine, invoke, and avoid. For example, you could say imagine knowing what your friends really think. Another rule you have to keep in mind is that when you use gerunds, you have to use them with certain prepositions, after certain prepositions. For example, some of these prepositions would be of, would be about, and would be for. Let me give you 2 examples. For example, let's read this question. Have you ever dreamt of being a superhero? And the second example would be, obviously, people are a bit of nervous about trying that. So as you can see, infinitives and gerunds are very different things. In case you want to understand it more, please, I suggest you to practice and find more information in this lesson. Ask the questions you have with your teacher. Have a good time, and I'll see you next class.